following program on KROC is sponsored and paid for by Meshbesher and Spence.
The Zach Bauer is here from Meshbesher and Spence.
Our favorite lawyer.
Yes.
Hey.
Good morning, guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing terrific.
Hey, we are going to be talking about a new DUI ordinance or the law that takes effect on a couple of days.
Next
week.
Just in time for the weekend.
Right.
Imagine
August
that.
1st. So
now, I'm thinking it's going to get tighter?
Yes,
All
substantially so. So the legislature went to work on trying to lower the aggravating factors. So the .08 legal limit still remains .08. But what used to be an aggravating factor, meaning that your consequences for your actions would increase significantly, was if you blew at .20 or higher. That is now .16. So it's a reduction from .20 to .16, which happens to be twice the legal limit.
Mm-hmm.
But it is going to catch a lot of people that fall into that category. I think the recent statistics that we've seen is that the average first-time DUI person usually registers between a .14 and a 1.5. So there is going to be, I think they talked about over 5,000 people that would typically be caught in this web if we were looking at it for the last 3 years that will face aggravated sanctions the first time they have a DUI.
what's the excuse me, allergies. What is the difference between the .08 and the .16?
So on a first-time offense where a person blew, let's say, for instance, a .10, so over the 08 legal limit, they'd be facing a sanction of 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine, those being maximums.
Okay.
Now if they blow .16 or higher on that same first-time offense, they'll be facing a fine of $3,000 as a maximum and a potential custodial time of a year in jail. So we're talking about 4 times the increases of potential jail time, 3 times the increases when it comes to fines. And there's a lot of people that used to fall in that 1.6 to 1.9 range that were looking at lower samples or looking at lower consequences, and now all of a sudden they'll be looking at much higher consequences. The biggest one being that when you blow 1.6 or higher now, you get held until you see a judge.
Wow.
Yes. So that is the biggest change that we are seeing. And those are what we call mandatory release conditions. The legislature says any type of third-time offense in a 10-year period, you get held, or any type of offense, even a first time, if you are at this magic kind of aggravating limit, which is 1.6 now. So when a person gets picked up on a DUI, for instance, on Saturday evening, they will get held in custody until Monday when they see a judge.
Wow.
And when they do
Saturday evening, you mean you'd be talking like 6 o'clock, say?
Anything
Whatever.
after
All day Sunday.
Yeah, anything after about 3 o'clock on Saturday evening, they will get held.
And previously they would have gotten out when?
Within an hour.
Within an hour. Okay.
Yep. So that's going to be a significant change. And then when they do see a judge, there's only 2 ways that they're going to get out of jail. Either by going on an alcohol sensor, where they have to have their alcohol monitored daily. They cost about $20 a day to be on that sensor, or posting a $12,000 unconditional bail. So it's
a lot cheaper to get a cab.
It's a lot cheaper to get a cab. State of Minnesota.
Call a friend.
I looked up the numbers the other day. In the state of Minnesota, we are the 11th highest in total amount of DUIs in the nation. We have the 8th highest DUI rate per capita. And our recidivism rate, which means people that pick up a second offense after a first offense, is over 40%.
Oh, my gosh.
How do we rank with the other upper Midwest states here?
North Dakota and South Dakota are higher than us per capita.
Wisconsin has to be higher than us.
Barely.
Really?
You would think much higher, but barely. But they're higher than us too. Part of that I think is because our lack of kind of the transit systems. That, for instance, if you're looking at Maryland or New York,
Sure, you can always take the subway.
Yep.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting over in Wisconsin how different the mindset is.
Yes.
And it's not that far from us. It's not like we're talking, Idaho and Wisconsin. Being over in Wisconsin, it's striking how differently they think about drinking.
And I think that what the legislature was looking to do was to try to strengthen those DUI laws to send a message to people to try to keep that lower. I mean, Illinois has one of the lowest rates in the nation, despite having one of the highest populations in the country. So
it's because of the L.
Yeah,
You can take the L home from the bar.
You can take the L home
on Rush.
from the bar.
Could be. So this is just for Minnesota.
Just for Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So it will go in effect next Saturday morning at 12:01 a.m.
Yeah.
Just in time for
keep
bar
that
close.
in mind, folks. Yep. Yeah, just in time for bar. So, if you get caught before that,
you're
well,
okay.
just call a cab.
I
call
think
Call a friend.
calling a cab may be the
Yeah.
best option.
And if you don't know what 2 beers or 2 glasses of wine does to you, maybe just take a cab.
Yeah, when you're at 1.6, I mean, typically we're talking about a person that average 6 foot male, 200 pounds. You're going to have a consume probably 5 to 6 to 7 drinks over a period of 3 to 4 hours to get to that level.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
it's not just a couple.
That doesn't, but you still get pulled over and charged with a .08.
That's right. That's absolutely
Which
right.
are just a little more than 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3 is probably the time for it where you just say, let's just call
And for
it
a
night.
female, probably 1.5
I was
to
going
2.
to say 1 glass of wine for
Yeah.
me would be about it.
I think it's just easiest to have if you're going to go out and have a good evening and drink, then let's just play it safe and call a cab and get a ride home.
All right. Good advice. If somebody needs some other advice, needs an attorney, how do they get in touch with you at Meshbesher and Spence?
They can contact us locally at 507-280-8090 or visit us online at www.meshbesher.com.
All right. Talk to you next Thursday.
See you guys.